What if the one quality that most irresistibly draws women isn't passion or protection, but absolute indifference? Sartre believed that a man who embodies pure freedom, who needs nothing, fears nothing, and owes nothing, becomes a rare being of magnetic appeal. In this video, we'll explore why existential authenticity, not empty charm, is the true currency of attraction. Jean-Paul Sartre taught that our essence is defined by our choices, not by any fixed nature. For Sartre, true freedom arises when we refuse to be anything other than what we choose in each moment. A man who needs a woman, however, sacrifices that freedom by anchoring his project of self to her existence. He transforms a loving relationship into a lifeline, and desperate dependence becomes a tether rather than wings for both partners. Existential neediness is a demand for the other to fill a void. It pronounces, "Without you, I am less of a person. Without your validation, I am lost." Such a stance pressures the beloved into impossible responsibility, sustaining another's self-worth rather than nurturing mutual growth. Sartre warned that the moment I make you the guarantor of my being, I objectify you, reducing you to a means for my own survival. Conversely, a rare man in Sartre's vision is one who stands as a being for himself, complete in his self-created meaning. He does not seek a partner to define him, but to share chosen projects. His love is a gift, not a requirement. This radical self-sufficiency is profoundly attractive because it communicates fearless authenticity. He approaches you not as a half-man looking for completion, but as a whole man offering companionship. In Being and Nothingness, Sartre discusses bad faith, the denial of our freedom through self-deception. A needy man lives in bad faith, hiding from the void by clinging to another's affirmation. A rare man embraces his nothingness, transcending it through conscious acts of creation, be it art, work, or self-invention. His refusal to settle for illusions makes him a luminous presence, drawing others into a dance of genuine engagement. This is not an argument against intimacy or emotional vulnerability. Sartre held that authentic relationships arise when each participant acknowledges the other's radical freedom. Love, in his terms, is a project chosen freely, not a refuge from loneliness. When a man does not need love to survive, his love becomes an act of creativity, a work of art reflecting share. In practice, cultivating this rare authenticity demands rigorous self-interrogation. One must identify areas where dependency masquerades as romance, the habit of seeking constant reassurance, the slump of confidence when texts go unanswered, the compulsion to fix emotional gaps. Each instance of neediness is a moment to pause and ask, "Am I seeking you, or an escape from my own insecurities?" Over time, a man who undertakes this project tastes a deeper form of attraction, relationships built on mutual curiosity rather than mutual sustenance. Women who encounter such self-possessed men sense an invitation to meet him as a free other, to collaborate in building joint meanings. Their attraction feels less like magnetism and more like recognition. Here is someone who acknowledges my freedom as fully as I do his own. Sartre's insights also cast light on the dynamics of modern dating. In a culture where social media metrics and rapid devotion can masquerade as love, the rare man stands apart by refusing to be governed by algorithmic dopamine. He does not chase likes or cling to bi-weekly affection. Instead, he invests in steady self-creation, knowing that authentic connection cannot be algorithmically sustained. Critics might argue that such self-sufficiency risks emotional isolation. Yet Sartre would counter that true solitude is a condition of freedom, not despair. When a man is comfortable with his own company, when he can enjoy silence, explore solo passions, and face his inner void, he signals to potential partners that he enters a relationship by choice, not necessity. That choice becomes the most potent aphrodisiac. Ultimately, Sartre's shocking truth is a call to transcend the conventional scripts of romance. He invites us to see neediness for what it is, an unconscious debt that undermines the very freedom love seeks to celebrate. By contrast, a man who masters his own being for himself becomes a beacon of possibility, and women, yearning for genuine encounter, find themselves drawn to that light. Extending this exploration of Sartre's radical freedom in the realm of love, we must first confront the root of neediness, the human tendency to flee solitude. Solitude, according to Sartre, is the soil in which authentic self-creation takes root. Yet too many men rush from one distraction to the next: dating apps, casual flings, virtual validation, seeking companionship as a balm for existential anxiety. A rare man, by contrast, cultivates solitude as a sacred practice, using it to confront his own desires, fears, and commitments without external scaffolding. In the quiet of solitude, he learns to sit with the question, "What do I want my life to mean?" Without another's gaze, he discovers the contours of his own aspirations. This process can be grueling. Memories of past failures surface. Long-buried doubts claw at fragile self-images. But it is precisely through this gritty reflection that he forges an unshakable core. When he eventually enters a relationship, he brings not a wounded child in need of rescue, but a tempered creator ready to co-author shared projects. Contrast this with the typical pattern of defensive coupling. Two people, each running from the emptiness within, latch onto each other to stave off the terror of being alone. Their bond forms not from admiration or shared vision, but from mutual avoidance. Such relationships collapse under the weight of projection. Each partner sees in the other a lifeline rather than a free, autonomous subject. The rare man eschews these shallow entanglements. He chooses partners not to fill a void, but to expand his world. Once in a relationship, Sartre's rare man practices what we might call existential reciprocity. He honors his partner's freedom as zealously as his own. Rather than demanding constant closeness, he celebrates her independent pursuits, her career goals, artistic passions, volunteer commitments, encouraging her to explore her world fully. In doing so, he resists the toxic impulse to possess. Love becomes a shared constellation rather than a locked cage, each star shining by its own light, yet forming a cohesive pattern visible only from a distance. This approach requires mastering emotional generosity. Neediness is fear-based. It asks, "Will you stay?" Generosity is creativity-based. It asks, "What wonders might we create together?" The rare man gives compliments, not to elicit gratitude, but to acknowledge genuine excellence. He supports her ambitions not to accrue favor, but because her flourishing enriches their shared life. His gestures, surprising her with resources that further her projects, listening deeply to her evolving dreams, become the building blocks of a relationship grounded in mutual respect rather than mutual dependence. Yet even generosity can slip into covert transactions, praise offered to secure affection, gifts given in hopes of debt. To avoid this pitfall, Sartre's disciple must adopt radical transparency. He declares his intentions clearly. "I support your goals because I care about you, not because I expect reciprocity." When he makes mistakes, an insensitive remark, a forgotten commitment, he admits them without defensive spin, treating apologies not as weapons to regain favor, but as opportunities to strengthen trust. In this way, his moral authenticity shines through every action. Of course, relationships stir our darkest emotions: jealousy, insecurity, anger. Sartre taught that emotions are not involuntary prisoners, but choices we enact through our judgments. A rare man embraces this insight. When jealousy flares, he does not brood in silent resentment, but interrogates its meaning. He asks, "What fear is this jealousy signaling? Of abandonment? Of not being enough?" By owning his emotional responses rather than repressing them, he prevents them from poisoning the relationship's soil. Moreover, he invites his partner into this shared emotional labor. He models vulnerability by naming his own fears without expecting her to manage them. "I felt anxious when I didn't hear from you," he might say. "I realize that is my insecurity speaking." This confession diffuses her automatic defensiveness. She no longer feels blamed and opens a space for mutual understanding. Together, they learn to see emotions as messages rather than weapons. In keeping with Sartre's emphasis on projects, the rare man sees the relationship itself as a co-creative endeavor. They set joint goals, whether as simple as a weekend art project or as ambitious as building a social enterprise, and treat setbacks as data rather rather than dramas. When a plan falters, they analyze what went wrong without attributing malicious intent. This shared problem-solving fosters a sense of us that is built on collaboration rather than casualty. Underpinning all these practices is the refusal to fall into complacency. Sartre warned against the seductive comfort of routines that anesthetize our freedom. Even in long-term partnerships, the rare man resists the temptation to slip into automated roles: provider, caregiver, entertainer. He continually renews his presence, asking himself, "Am I still choosing this life with her, or have I started going through the motions?" This vigilance keeps the relationship alive, a living testament to their ongoing choice. In moments of conflict, Sartre's philosophy offers a clear path. Treat confrontation as a chance for authentic negotiation rather than for destructive retribution. When disagreements arise over finances, family, values, the rare man frames them as mutual explorations. Let us examine our underlying needs and find a new definition of ours that honors both our freedoms. By prioritizing authenticity over victory, he transforms conflicts into catalysts for deeper connection. As the relationship matures, the rare man and his partner may face existential crossroads, shifting careers, parenthood, aging. In these transitions, their prior commitment to freedom provides stability. Each negotiates new desires, fears, and identities, with the assumption that the other's core freedom is inviolable. They may evolve in different directions, but remain bound by the choice to support each other's becoming. Ultimately, Sartre's shocking truth that women fall for rare men who don't need them rests on a profound paradox. To win another's heart, one must first relinquish the heart's hostage. She will not be captivated by someone who clings. She will be drawn to someone who lets go. This is the crucible of authenticity: to risk loss in order to preserve freedom, knowing that real attachment emerges not from clutching, but from offering an open hand. Such love is not passive. It demands courage, reflection, and daily recommitment. It is a lifelong project, an ever-shifting tapestry woven from acts of choice. But in this tapestry, each thread shines with its own light, and the pattern that emerges is one of resilience, creativity, and mutual transcendence. Is this path easy? Far from it. It is strewn with self-doubt, unexamined shadows, and the temptation to return to safer patterns of conferred dependence. Yet for those who persevere, the reward is a love unbounded by need, a shared freedom that turns two solitary explorers into fellow architects of meaning.